NSC Fan TV. I'm here with Nick. Nick, you and I were watching this game, the LAFC away win here at the Lost Patty watch party. You have opinions. You were shouting them from the bar over there. It's right over there. You can turn the camera over there, but no one's got the camera. It's on a little stand. So Nick was shouting opinions from the bar. Share them with our friends at home.
So as other people here mentioned, Joe Willis kind of absolutely turned up the heat this game. He had some fantastic saves, really looking like the Joe Willis that I kind of came to know and love. I do agree that Shaq had a really strong performance this game. I am a bit miffed that Walker came out at half, but although I do understand, kind of give him a break, give him a rest for the Galaxy game. But I think overall it was a really strong team performance. I don't agree with the Dax yellow card. That early on.
So should it have been a red or no card at all?
Oh, I'd say give him a warning. If he does it again, yellow card. But I think that early on and to have that kind of strong of a card early on, I think was a bit much. I'm kind of leaning towards, give him a warning. If he does that again, then give him a yellow. But I don't think it was quite yellow worthy.
So I think that there might be a technicality on the side of the yellow and might have even leaned towards red, which was that we had a chance for goal.
Yes.
That got disrupted. And I think that the only reason why it wasn't red was that the referee pointed to Moore, who was running up on Arango. So I mean, maybe not yellow for the severity of the foul, but maybe for the disruptiveness of the play.
Yeah,
but what do you think about that?
And I totally agree with the the last player on the ball foul. So with that, but I think just the way that he kind of approached that tackle. I think that was. He could have been a touch aggressive, but I think that the way he handled it. Obviously it was kind of more towards the player than the ball, but I think that just kind of, if you look at the play overall and you look at how early it was in the game, I don't really agree with refs giving yellows out that early until they get more control, more handle on the game. So I think give him a very stern warning, and the next thing he does is absolute yellow. But I think it was interesting just to kind of flash the yellow that early, kind of the ref really laying down the law of the game pretty early on.
Yeah, and McCarty having to play on yellow, and especially given the fact that we play with those sort of two shield mids.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Playing with the two defensive mids with the players we have absolutely makes sense. I totally agree with, having McCarty and whoever rotates in beside McCarty to have, because it's kind of a cycle. But But to have the two players back, I totally agree with. What I do find interesting is whenever we almost seem to rely more on our defensive mids than our actual center backs for things. Obviously Walker likes to stay back. It almost looks like we have one actual defender, and then everyone else. Our outside backs will play wide and they'll come in long for the plays, and then whoever's partnering Walker in center will go down a bit deep, and then Walker will kind of stay back. But it's almost interesting when our defensive mids, and yes, they are defensive mids, but to have them kind of almost be center backs.
Oh yeah, there are lots of times whenever you're seeing Davis slide in behind, especially Moore for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so you endorsed that. You endorsed that setup of play. The yellow on McCarty did complicate the way that the center backs were coming in and playing defense, right?
It did. Dax pretty much had to be on his tiptoes for the rest of that game, just because with the ref throwing out a yellow that early, you almost feel like the next time Dax made a tackle, he was going to get a second yellow.
Teal Bunbury snapping a ball out of the air. What'd you think? Teal's for real.
Teal is for real. He is just the most fascinating player to me because he had that run. Three games, 3 goals relatively early on in all 3 games. He even had what technically qualified as a bicycle kick in that one. So just the absolute tenacity of that man has been fascinating. And I've always been a fan of his whenever he would come on the pitch because, season ticket holder, I go to almost all the games. So whenever he comes on the pitch, I always know it's going to be a good time. So whenever he starts, I know that there's going to be something interesting happening relatively early on in the game.
Bunbury's energy, Bunbury's skill, Bunbury's just canniness, being able to be in places where things are happening.
Absolutely. He's he almost kind of plays as a number 9. He just kind of comes in straight into the center of the box. He's able to be there for crosses. He's a tall guy, so he's able to play headers whenever he needs to. I don't think he's like a striker per se, but he's a really strong player. So whenever he comes on, if he's subbing in for someone hurt, like if CJ just needs maybe a bit of a break or something, he's still a really strong player.
So yeah, I think that maybe Teal's natural position is sort of a winger and sort of someone sort of sneaking in and so on. So just the fact that he's able to come in, play in the forward spot, it's really great in terms of his flexibility. Maybe a question about like who else was contributing to the offense, being able to keep the ball on them. Who else did you see doing that?
Yeah, offense-wise, what's interesting about our offense that I just kind of noticed, especially over this past season, is how much we lean towards not only our outside midfielders, but our outside backs to come in and make plays. So you always see Alex Muil, Shaq Moore, you see Lovitz even up there all the time. So just to get as much offensive prowess, I guess, from our wide midfielders and our wide backs, because we play a very central actual strikers. I mean, we always have Sapong, Bunbury, and Mukhtar coming up in the actual striking forwards. So, and then Ake Lobo whenever he comes in as well. When he decides to be able to be subbed in. but just to have that much prowess from our wide players and our midfielders, pretty much everyone that plays out in the left and right wide and the left and right mid is always a strong player for us, making crosses in, making runs in, especially Alex Moyle. I remember one run that he did in against Philadelphia early in the season that he had a fantastic run in that turned into a goal. So, I mean, just overall those players.
Alex Hustle McMuil.
Exactly.
So maybe last one. What do you think we're going to see defensive wise whenever we go to LA? You think we're going to continue to see this 4-4-2? You think we might see a 3 in the back, 2 wide? What are your thoughts? What are your predictions in terms of the way that the defense is going to be set up?
I think with the players we have, a 4-4-2 is pretty much a guarantee. Just because, I mean, you obviously have CJ and Hani to start up as your 2 people up front. Even if Hani plays a little more back as more of an attacking midfielder, and you have CJ in more of the true number 9 spot, and then Hani will kind of float up to him whenever he needs to. I think with the sheer quantity of defenders almost that we have on, especially with the addition of Shaq Moore, who's absolutely fantastic, to have 2, I mean, Shaq Moore not as much now, but 2 U.S. national team defenders on our squad, along with Dan Lovitz, Romney, and even to the extent of when you look at people like Marr and Davis, who will still come into defensive roles pretty often. I think 4-4-2 is the right way to go. We're very much a counterattack team. Okay. So 4-4-2.
So
for sure.
Your prediction here is that we're going to see us do some counterpunching with the Galaxy.
Oh, absolutely. I completely side with that. Just even watching the game that Galaxy played at Geodis, the counterattack was pretty crucial for us in that. Even if it didn't always work out at the time, that was pretty much when we had most of our strong chances. So the counterattack is absolutely the way that we play as a team. And, there's pros and cons with that, but if the counterattack works, it works. So I don't see any reason why it would change at this point. 4-4-2 it's historic, but it's kind of the way to play now.
I'm loving the 4-4-2 myself. Got a prediction against the Galaxy?
Oh God, the Galaxy game, that's tricky. As long as we can contain Chicharito, that's really the big question mark. We managed to do it in the game that they played in Geodis. But as long as we can contain Chicharito, I think that we could come out of that maybe 3-2, 4-2, honestly.
3-2, 4-2. Nick, I love the bold predictions. I love seeing scores. Thank you, sir.
Happy to help.
All right.
Absolutely.
Next time.